video. Hold on, let me adjust this right quick. So I thought I would do another video analyzing the fight that took place for undisputed. Arthur Beterbiev is now the undisputed light heavyweight champion, in which he won a controversial decision over Dmitry Bivol. There are quite a few people that thought that the wrong guy won that fight. Me, myself, I decided to watch the fight with the sound off to where I can best come with the analysis and give you my take of how I saw the fight. One thing we need to stop doing, we really need to do the eye test. What you need to do is tune out the broadcasters. That's what I've learned to do over the years. Just like years ago when I watched Sugar Shane Mosley, Oscar De La Hoya 2. I watched that fight and I clearly thought that Sugar Shane Mosley won that fight. And I just recently seen it and I thought Sugar Shane Mosley won again, and it was clear to me that Sugar Shane Mosley won that fight, but it was basically the bias and pro Oscar De La Hoya commentary that made you think that Oscar De La Hoya just won by wide margin when he really didn't. I had that fight 8-4 in favor of Sugar Shane Mosley. Worst case scenario, 7-5 for Sugar Shane Mosley. I thought he clearly won that fight. And I think people misinterpreted what he was saying, during the breaks when he was, getting instruction from his corner man. Oh, well, he's too fast. But basically what he was telling them to do was make these adjustments to get around his speed. And Shane was saying, well, I don't want to do that because he's a little too fast for that. So for some reason that gave people the indication that Sugar Shane Mosley thought that he was losing the fight. But that's not the case. But I clearly thought that Shane won that fight. This fight, if there was any fight that reminds me of Devin Haney and Lomachenko, Devin Haney was Arthur Beterbiev. And Arthur Beterbiev did the same thing that Devin Haney did to secure the Lomachenko fight. He finished strong. He closed out and finished strong. But I thought Devin Haney clearly beat Vasyl Lomachenko 8 rounds to 4. Best case for Lomachenko that he won 5 rounds. And then Lomachenko eventually admitted that he should have did more to win that fight. So I like to break that down. Everybody that's sitting up here talking about robberies and all that kind of stuff, this is what I'm saying. When you watch a fight, do not listen to what the broadcasters say. Tune them out. Do your own eye test. Because after watching the fight, and I was watching the fight very closely, when I first watched the fight, I thought maybe a draw. And it was funny. My son, he called me and said he had it a draw. And then I thought, well, maybe Bivol edged him out 7 rounds to 5. But after rewatching the fight, there was quite a few swing rounds. And like I said before, the broadcasters were very pro Bivol. Wasn't a robbery. Bivol gave away, to me, the last 3 rounds. And then there was a couple of rounds that you could make an argument that Arthur Beterbiev stole. So with that being said, after rewatching the fight and giving some of the swing rounds to Arthur Beterbiev, I scored it. And then there was one I couldn't decide. So with that being said, there was one round that I couldn't decide that it could have been a coin toss. So I had it 6-5 and 1 in favor of Arthur Beterbiev. Bivol gave away the last 3 rounds, the championship rounds. He squandered them. He did nothing basically in the 12th round, and he looked like he damn near was on the verge of getting stopped. Bivol, I'm not going to say he ran in that fight, but Bivol when those exchanges were starting to happen and Beterbiev would get the best of those exchanges, Bivol would start backing up. And then the thing is, keep in mind, Arthur Beterbiev is the champion. He's stalking Bivol. And then if you really watch the punches that they say that Bivol was landing, they were getting blocked. Arthur Beterbiev was blocking a lot of those punches. Now there was a couple of there were a couple of moments in the fight where Beterbiev got off where Bivol got off a couple of good combinations, but then Bivol would get hit and would get pieced up himself. So just watching this fight twice after watching it the first time live, yeah. And then the person I was watching the fight with, he was very pro Bivol. Do I think there should be a rematch? Absolutely. Absolutely, there should be a rematch. Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, it should be a rematch. But that's just how I watched the fight and rescored it. It wasn't a robbery. So anybody that's gonna come on here, if you still think Bivol won, that's fine. But don't come on here like trying to disrespect me. Don't come on here talking about what fight were you watching. Anybody that does that, I'm gonna run their ass off my channel. We're not gonna do that. We're gonna talk like adults. We're gonna give, adult assessment. Bivol has to understand you in certain fights, you can't just, barely win. I'm talking about you have to take it. Now, if he had dropped Arthur Beterbiev a couple of times, then we wouldn't even be having this conversation. But there were times in the fight where it looked like Bivol was about to get stopped. There were moments of the fight where Bivol fought to keep Beterbiev off of him. When you have somebody walking you down and teeing off on you against the ropes, that's not always a good look. That's not always smart. And it could be detrimental. I think the last 3 rounds is what decided the fight. And then the second half of the fight, Arthur Beterbiev started to impose his will. So, and as far as Eddie Hearn say, well, the corner said that you got to knock him out. Well, that's just how the corner talks. They might have been trying to, they didn't know whether the fight was close or not, or how, or whatever the case may be. Doesn't mean nothing. At the end of the day, Arthur Beterbiev got his hand raised when it was all said and done. So he's the champion. That's just the bottom line. How did I have it? I watched it. I watched that. I guess you missed it. I've watched this fight 3 times. I have it either 7-5 for Beterbiev or 6-5-1 even for Beterbiev. No, wasn't a blowout. Wasn't a blowout. All this stuff about Arthur Beterbiev lost decisively, that's a complete lie. Anybody that says that, you don't know what you're talking about. Now, listen, I understand that pure boxers are going to say that, they thought Bivol won. But see, let me tell you why I think some people are missing the point. When you're so used to seeing it, and I said this with somebody else, when you're so used to seeing a certain thing, you're stuck on it, and you don't prepare yourself for a change. This was a fight that I think people were so used to seeing Arthur Beterbiev like knock people out, and they didn't think he could outbox somebody or box somebody to a decision. I think that their judgment got a little clouded. And that's just what I'm thinking. I think some people were just so used, and they just thought this would just be, another, knockout for Arthur Beterbiev. But you got to give him credit. He proved that he can win, that he can box his way to a decision. Well, that's what I said. People that's boxers, they're gonna say that Bivol, Bivol like outboxed, but Bivol to me, the last quarter of the fight, he kind of left it. He kind of left it up for grabs. He didn't secure the fight. He got, he got battered in the 11th round. Look at the dude's eye. They repaired his eye. Um, Arthur Beterbiev, you actually have to go by. Sometimes it doesn't matter about activity. It's certain criteria that you have to judge a fight. You shouldn't just judge it off activity. You have to judge it off a lot of different things. Who was doing more damage? It was clearly that Arthur Beterbiev was doing more damage because Bivol should have tried to engage more, but then Bivol didn't want to go balls to the wall because he thought that would put him in a position to get knocked out. Bivol was doing a lot of backpedaling. He was on his bicycle periodically in the fight, where Arthur Beterbiev, if he got hit, he does what he always does. He resets and comes back in. Now, Arthur Beterbiev, the only mistake Arthur Beterbiev made, I think if he would have started on Bivol's body the first half of the fight, he would have broke Bivol down and he would have been able to stop him. But he was piecing Bivol up. His punches was doing clearly more damage than what Bivol's was doing. So it didn't take a genius to figure out who was doing more damage. It was clearly Arthur Beterbiev, and people just wasn't used to seeing this dude go the distance. I never thought that Arthur Beterbiev would, if he continued to fight, possibly finish his career with a 100% knockout ratio. I don't think no fighters ever had a 100% knockout ratio in the history of boxing. So, like I said, when people is used to seeing certain things, they're just shocked. So because he went the distance and he didn't knock the dude out, then that means that that he got schooled, which he didn't. And Bibble, and I have to, yeah, what's up, B? And Dimitri Bibble need to stop it when he did that interview with Marcos from Fight Hype, talking about that Canelo hit harder than Beterbiev. Come on, man, stop it, Bibble. You trying to set Canelo up to go in there and get killed? We just giving Bibble credit. He survived Arthur Beterbiev, but he wasn't willing to like go balls to the wall. If he fights him again, he gonna have to be willing to stand in there and trade. He gonna have to be willing to go in there and just say, you know what? If I get knocked out, I get knocked out. Because I think that Arthur Beterbiev will make more adjustments than Bibble. And keep in mind, Arthur Beterbiev was coming off, and I'm not making excuses for him. He was coming off a knee surgery. Okay, he was coming off a knee surgery, but Bibble, he fought well, but yeah, yeah. The and that's the thing. The 10th round was up for grabs too. The 10th round could have been a swing round. There were some rounds where Beterbiev closed real strong. He did what Sugar Ray Leonard did versus Hagler, where he had a good last 50, and then I think it was one round where he landed like a big shot that just wobbled, like that shook Bibble up a little bit. I can't remember what round it was. It was either the 7th or the 8th. So watching that fight and analyzing it, my assessment. See, keep in mind, I do this stuff. I just covered a fight yesterday in Stockton. When you watch a fight, you have to. I'm not. See, that's the thing. That's the thing. I'm not listening to Tim Bradley. I'm not listening to Chris Mannix. I'm not listening to whoever it was calling the fight. I'm not listening to those dudes. I'm forming my own assessment. And sometimes you have to watch a fight again to come with a better assessment. Like I never even had to watch Devin Haney versus Lomachenko twice because I already knew that Devin Haney had clearly won that fight. I don't know about that. Now they, first of all, I think they're gonna do it again. I'll check and see. I'll definitely check and see. They got to do this fight again, please. But here's the thing: if they do a rematch, this fight should be probably in New York City. It should be at Madison Square Garden because Madison Square Garden, New York City, got a big Russian fan base. So I think that Vegas is cool too. They could do it at the Michelob Ultra Arena. If they do the rematch in the States, I'm definitely gonna try to be there. I'm definitely gonna try to be there. If it's in New York, I'll just send Migs there. But if it's in the West Coast, yeah, it'll be me. But they need to do a rematch, but they need to put that in New York City or something. Beterbiev would knock Edgar Berlanga into the next century. It would be an interesting fight. It would be he would, man, Arthur Beterbiev would knock Edgar Berlanga into the next century. I Listen, I'm gonna say this again. The man was coming off a knee injury. He had surgery. They had to push the fight back. So they should set up an immediate rematch. But from what I was told, the reports say that there was no rematch clause. But I was formally told that it was a rematch clause. So we're gonna have to find out. But I know, according to reports, both of these dudes made $10 million apiece. So why wouldn't you want to do it again? Wouldn't you want to do it again for additional 5 or 10 million? And if there's a rematch, it's gonna be huge. It was a good. When I say it was a good fight, it was a good fight. It was a real good fight. I just think people put more emphasis on Beterbiev, not stopping, and people being shocked that he finally had to actually box his way into a decision. And to sit up there, you got to give Beterbiev credit that he won on the scorecards because this is unfamiliar territory to him. This is very unfamiliar territory to Beterbiev, having to like basically go the distance because he never had went the distance with anybody. So he was probably a little shocked too. And I think his team was worried about that because his team pretty much, whether they want you to know it or not, I think his team pretty much got comfortable with them figuring out, okay, we're gonna stop this dude. We're gonna stop this dude. So they were so comfortable with knocking people out. I think they were a little nervous, but you know, he pulled it off. So I just wanted to give my final assessment of what I saw. Listen, I'm definitely calling for a rematch. But a lot of people are saying the same thing. I got a lot of people hitting me up saying, "Hey, Town, I watched the fight again, and I thought Beterbiev did enough to get the nod." But anyway, you guys, battery dying, got to charge it. But we'll be back with more later on. Oh, shout out to the Ravens, man! Shout out to the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens did now won 4 straight. Told you they putting it together. Um, Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is looking like every bit of a Hall of Famer. But if he can get that ring, if he can get that ring, you know what I'm saying? That makes the argument even better. This your boy Town. I'm out.